Hey folks, this is Casey and I'm One Mellow Marigold. Let's go check in on our fall garden. Let's check in on the squash first and see how our different planting areas are doing. If you remember, I did not get a chance to grow a fall garden here last fall. So this is my first fall garden here at the farm. And with squash in particular, I really wanted to try out 3 different areas to see where they grew the best. So we're here in potato land. Let's see how the potato land squashes are doing first. The quick and dirty answer is they're doing amazing. We have baby squashes. What I think is interesting about these squashes is it's planted right next door to this squash, and that little baby squash is quite a bit smaller than this one. They're both still healthy, they're both still producing flowers, but this one is more robust. What I realized is this little baby squash is falling just inside the shade line of those cherry trees. Just inside. So we know this space is getting more sun than that one. Let's go check the ones in the back. Then we have 2 plants up here that we put up against a trellis so that I could train them up the side. And these are doing amazing too. We don't have any baby squashes over here yet, but we've got really nice, thick, healthy vines. And something I haven't done enough of is kind of training them over toward the trellis. So I am gonna just stick a little arm through just to help them start moving along in that way. Fun fact about plants, if you didn't know, a lot of the reaching plants, if you simply bend them manually in the direction you want them to go, all of those little bitty breakages will remind the plant to continue growing that way in the future. Yeah, oh, we do have a little baby. Look, there we go. This one is growing straight up, and just like this one, I mean, it's hardy and robust, not quite the same amount of growth outwardly, and we could also be getting that same shade from the cherry tree effect. But I'm really happy with how they're doing so far. They're doing absolutely great. The next spot we tried was closer over towards the pumpkins. So those are my pie pumpkins. Those are the squash. Let's go see how they're doing. So, little bit smaller. Everybody has, oh, look. Uh-oh. We have a napping bee. Oh my gosh, how cute, how precious. There is nothing better than napping bees. Okay, we'll leave him alone. Luckily, everybody has got flowers. Ooh, we do have one little baby squash over here. Let's see if there's any under on this side. So just the one, but that's okay. These are doing great. They are not getting as much sun as potato land, but they do get sun earlier in the day than the squash and potato land do. So maybe that's really what's kind of helping keeping them going. Now these are my pie pumpkins, which I started growing way earlier in the season. They've been doing great over here. I've gotten 3 or 4 pumpkins off the vine already. I've got another great one right there, ripening up. There's a baby over there, and I think I've got something somewhere here in the middle too. But what I really want to show you is powdery mildew. You might remember from that video planting my fall garden, I wasn't sure how bad the powdery mildew would get out here. And this is the first time I have really seen it on my property. I have not done anything to treat this vine as of yet. Ooh, there's one. There's another baby pumpkin. But I will come out here. I do like to do a milk spray. A milk spray might stink for like a day after you do it. But all of that lactic acid helps keep the powdery mildew at bay. So since the pumpkin plants have been out for a hot minute, hey buddy, I'm not exactly worried about the powdery mildew taking them down. What I am worried about is the wind spreading that powdery mildew from here to those guys. So we're going to put that on the chore list for the week. Last but not least, let's hop over to the corn patch and check on those squash. Here we are at the corn bin, and this spaghetti squash plant has been the winner of them all. This baby started going right after she was planted. We got one really healthy looking fruit so far. We have lots of flowers. She's doing absolutely amazing. We come down here, just back in there, you can see a tiny spot or 2 of powdery mildew. So we know we're going to want to come up here and spray with the milk spray as well. Now, the 2 plants down here are doing well. We got one baby fruit over there. We got one baby fruit over here. These two don't get quite the same amount of morning sun as the spaghetti squash up there does. So that has just been interesting to learn as we go. But now they're getting this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous late afternoon heavy sun. And I think that's really going to turn on the jets for them. Let's take a minute just to peek at the tomato area. Last time we left it, we had just done a fresh prune. We did a new trellis. And now it's been weeks. And the tomatoes and the tomatillos are just about done. Some of the volunteer tomato plants are actually still going strong. So I've got this one that's got a nice couple of clusters. I just cleared out a bunch of those. We're going to have a lot of little bitty ones. But for the most part, the big tomato plants are already done. We've got some healthy peppers still growing. We've got some lovely big bells. More habaneros. More habaneros. These are my Thai dragon chilies. I just put some in a batch of salsa verde. Oh, they turned out so amazing. We've got a couple more bells doing super great. A couple of volunteer tomatoes. Basically over here is the remnants of the last. Buddy, you're so handsome. You're just having deep thoughts? Are you doing some sun salutations? Pondering the life, pondering the mysteries of the universe. I also planted another round of carrots. Let me show you how they're doing. They're gorgeous. That's how they're doing. The carrots are doing amazing. I'm not going to lie. I was really worried about this third planting because they're only getting early morning and late afternoon sun now. Currently, they're being shaded by the big, huge pines. And I honestly was not sure if they were going to have enough sun to really develop nice fruit. But so far, so good. So far, so good. We have done just tiny bits of thinning here and there. We have watered occasionally, but we've had some rain recently, so we haven't had to do too much. They're just doing great. They're awesome. Okay, let's talk about our brassicas. I'm going to be totally honest, because that's what I do. This is a whole new tray of seedlings than what I planted in that video with you. That first tray, I just accidentally left out a little too long while I was hardening them off. And boop, just like that, the sun got too hot and destroyed every single one. Every single one. So I was not to be deterred. I knew we still had a ton of cool season. So I went ahead and planted another tray. They're doing amazing. They've been out here now for a couple days on their own and they're great. So our next project is to get them transplanted into their own pots and get them up in potato land. So let's do that next. I'm doing an experiment with soil rotation. I'm going to be reusing the soil that tomatoes were growing in to plant the cabbage, and I'm not going to amend the soil at all other than to give them just a light general feeding. I'm doing this for a couple of reasons. One, my compost game is not up to par here yet, so I'm not using a ton of compost yet to rejuvenate the soil. But if you rotate the soil between crops, different types of crops, different plant groups use different nutrients and leave others behind. So since brassicas and nightshades, the tomatoes, the peppers, are two different growing groups, there's more likely to be nutrients in here that the tomatoes didn't need that the cabbage does. I'm going to get busy transplanting some of these cabbages into their fabric pots. I've got a dish of water in case the roots are sticking together, and let's see how many we can do. We're going to give them just a little bitty feeding. This is the spot where I had cabbages last spring, and they did amazingly well. Lots of morning sun, lots of afternoon sun, just a bit of shade in the middle. So we're going to try it again for the fall growing. We'll see what happens. Because these are seedlings, they don't need a ton of food yet, but they do need some. So I'm going to have the recommended amount. I am going to put about 1.5 teaspoons into my 2-gallon jug and give everybody just a little feed. Just like that, full garden, rocking and rolling. We got the last of the brassica seedlings transplanted, except 3. I saved out 3 extra cabbages just in case any of the transplants fail. But we got the broccolis out there, we got the Brussels sprouts out there. Everybody's doing great. Everybody got watered, everybody got fed. The rest of the garden is doing amazing. The squashes are doing way better than expected, and so are the carrots. I'm a happy camper. Love you all so much. Thanks for hanging around at the farm with me, and I'm gonna see you real soon, okay? Bye.